Welcome back to Ferocious Education. This is Ed. Today we are talking about another update on TRCH, Torchlight Energy, and soon to become Metamaterials. So let's jump right into this one. So I covered this one previously in the last video, and I did cover it in multiple videos before regarding different estimates about dividends, the special dividends that is occurring out of the sales of their oil and gas assets, and as well the risks that it might actually accompany. And we went from somewhere from a realistic minimum dividend of around 50 cents all the way to somewhere around 150, and then I overviewed others where they went anywhere from around $4 to $50 or $40. And I think the mean average over there was somewhere around 20 to 30 bucks on the special dividends estimates. Now that was also an overview of others estimates that have submitted to me, but right now what we're looking at is the latest updates and as well a bit more focus on the technical analysis and the date of where we can expect this merger to go through ahead. And so Torchlight covered this one multiple times before, and what we get from the SEC filings is a bit of a hint about when this is probably going to occur. So for instance, right on to here. Fairly stringent requirements with respect to the process of selling oil and gas assets, including covenants requiring Torchlight to take certain steps in that process prior to the closing of the arrangement and a June 30th, 2021 deadline to complete the divestitures of the oil and gas assets. And so this talking about that deadline of June 30th, 2021. Now, this is an important deadline relating to oil and gas, and we can at least get a perspective on the oil prices from now until then. Now, the oil prices has been somewhat around stable from where they've recovered from the pandemic. And the main idea here is that we're able to do assessments for the oil and gas companies, assets from other companies based on this deadline on June 30th, 2021, and get a better perspective onto how much these would result in for that special dividend. Now, before moving on forward, if you'd like to see more contents like this, make sure to scroll down below, click that like button, and then there's also a subscribe button that should show around here. Now, if you would like to join our Discord, you can click show more and then join my Discord. Totally free, you can ask us more questions. There's an amazing community out there that can help you out. And now moving on towards some of the interesting things that are happening on the institutional buyers level. Now, we're not seeing massive volumes, but we did see in the month of April, good amount of volume, healthy amount of volume of shares being added. The latest one was actually last night on the 27th by United Asset Strategies. Now, some people have been talking regarding the short interest on this one. It's somewhere around 1482 currently speaking. And so it is not a short squeeze that is happening from what you're seeing, but more off perhaps a really nice reversal. We're going to talk about that on the technical analysis perspective, but before moving on from there, we need to take a quick look into Torchlight's presentation. And in this presentation between Metamaterials and Torchlight, just in case you haven't watched this one before, we're going to be talking here about the transaction itself. So the reverse takeover of Torchlight, the listed public company, TRCH, and Metamaterials, which is also on the Canadian market as MMAT and is also an OTC market by way of plan of arrangement. So Torchlight's pre-arrangement stockholder will own approximately 25% of the new combined company post-closing in exchange for issuing shares of its common stock to holders of Meta common shares, representing the approximately 75% ownership in the combining company, prior to giving effect to any equity financing pursuit to which Torchlight shares are issued to raise proceeds of exceeding $5 million. Now, prior in the effective date of closing of the arrangement, Torchlight will declare and issue shares of Series A preferred stockholders or stocks to holders of Torchlight common stocks representing 100% of the value of its existing oil and gas assets. The next thing is shares of Series A preferred stock will be unregistered and not freely tradable. And preferred stockholder will have the right to receive cash dividends on a per preferred share basis of any net proceeds received from the sale or dispositions of oil and gas assets owned by Torchlight prior to the earlier of December 31st, 2021, or the date which is 6 months from the closing of the arrangement. And so the next thing, during the sale period, the company may spin off or sell any of the remaining oil and gas assets. Further, the oil and gas assets will be held in a wholly owned subsidiaries. Now, the next thing here is the current management team of Meta will operate the combined business company post-closing. And so some of the things I've been talking about for some people is that you might actually not have to sell these oil and gas assets and have it under another company until they sell it. So that's another thing that hopes of getting the best price. And then the next thing is there is also the risk of not getting any dividends. And also the risk of, for instance, Metamaterials common shares price after the Metamaterials does go ahead and combine. And I'll show you about that in a bit. But nonetheless, we move on towards some of the latest news on Metamaterials itself. Sage Geosystems collaborates with Metamaterials on subsurface thermoelectric generation as a sustainable solution path. Now this one here, Project Pluton, is to enable geothermal energy anywhere in the world. Terawatts of clean, secure baseload energy by 2050. Now that's an interesting project that is going to run over the next 3-year periods, over a 3-year period. The proposal will validate aspects of Meta NanoWeb proprietary production methodology to develop novel thermoelectric generator TEG systems. Sage has teamed up with Meta to model, co-develop, investigate, and validate a new technology from TEG for harnessing of geothermal energy in drilling wellbores of select locations or testing locations. The next thing here is Metamaterials releases fourth quarter 2020 results and a full year of 2020 results. And the news comes here as follows. The 2020 net loss was around $19.8 million, or around 27 cents per share on 74 million average shares, compared to a 2019 net loss of around 11 million shares. So 2019 loss compared between the 2020, that's a difference of around $9 million. Now that's massive, although the total 2020 revenue was around 1.5 million compared to 1.2 million in 2019. So the revenue has improved, but the total net loss is worse. And next, in March 2020, they announced that the definitive agreement business combination of TRCH and them it was unanimously approved by Metamaterials security holders. The company will change its name to Metamaterials Incorporations and focus on the current business of Meta. As of today, the balance sheet holds cash and equivalent of approximately $60 million, and they estimate that the working capital is sufficient to operate through Q2 2022. And so that gives you a good amount of a perspective on their current operations. Of course, they have no debt, and they even have further on some of the financial results, more than what we just talked to. But in conclusion, since Meta began trading on the Canadian exchange a little over a year ago, much has been accomplished. We expect that in 2021 to be another pivotal year for the company as we continue to expand our product range, broaden the customer base, and invest in research and development, and scale up our roll-to-roll production to deliver on multiple applications. We're looking forward to seeing become the first NASDAQ-listed metamaterials company, joining the world's premier exchange for technology companies. This should improve our access to capital markets, raise awareness of Meta to help attract world-class talent, and support a broad range of growing opportunities. And we move on a little bit to the last thing, Metamaterials to obtain final order for plan arrangement. This is for TRCH as well. That was back in March 18th. This is already approved, etc. So we can move on now towards technical analysis. Now, moving on here towards technical analysis, what we see on the one-day perspective is that the current price point, 50 SMA, the purple line, is above the 200 SMA. That is a bullish thing. Now, the 10 SMA is also above the 30 SMA, which is the green line over the red line, and that's another bullish thing that we're seeing. And the price point is above all these averages, making it ultimately bullish. And now moving on towards the ADX, we're not seeing that this is actually a trend. It's sitting at 12.14 because of the massive downtrend that it has occurred. And then this one as more of a bounce rather than a strong trend based on the ADX alone. Now on the MACD, you're seeing that this one is actually looking to be more of a bullish outbreak, a bullish trend, and momentum is above 0.56. The William % R here, what you're seeing is that It is highly overbought. It's been for a while, ever since the 22nd of April, which is similar to the RSI indicator, by the way. Now, on the moving averages, it's currently on the top of the Bollinger Bands, which is somewhat of a bullish thing. However, usually it gets pulled back towards that Bollinger Band. However, with the right volume and momentum, if it does continue to break this Bollinger Bands, you might see a parabolic effect. Now, on the stochastic fast and stochastic slow, both are showing that this one might have another day or two on the leg up, but be careful of the next supports and resistances. The current support is sitting at 197 on the Fibonacci retracements, below there 129. Significant resistances 251, 306, 384, and 483. Coming on towards a price line action, we're seeing a significant support level that is sitting at 213, below there 194, below there 179, 162, going down towards 142 and down to 126. Significant resistances, you're seeing 244, above there 256, above there 294, and then 319, following that 348, and ultimately 370. Comes to the question to Ed, what do you think about this stock? Well, there's a lot of things that I can say about it, and metamaterials itself has a lot of potential, but honestly, if you're trading this one and you want to get to this one, trade it because of metamaterials, not because of TRCH, because ultimately you're going to get a special dividend, and it's almost a gamble trying to estimate it, and for all you know, might not actually go through. But I mean, about the oil and gas, based on the estimates of $4, and all you know is probably going to be around 50 cents. So that's almost a bet in that sense. But afterwards, after you get that special dividend and everyone celebrates, what happens? You're stuck with metamaterials. Do you want metamaterials? And you might say, well, Ed, the special dividend is going to be what, on $4-3, and by that time it will be around then. Well, what happens when everyone starts selling because they got the special dividend already and they don't want metamaterials? And so the question is, are you fine getting stuck with metamaterials for the next 10 years? For me, I like metamaterials, but the chart here, take a look at it. It went parabolic on basically the TRCH event with the merger, and it looks like, even though a lot of people are looking at it and saying, wow, it's a $4 stock, it's a $3 stock, it is definitely a penny stock in the Canadian exchange, and at least was for the last year or so. This is not a Tesla or a company that is massive in that sense, but a company that is hoping to go towards the Nasdaq market to raise capital. And in that results, yes, they are debt-free, and hopefully you might actually get a really nice dividend, but the question is, there's a lot of unanswered levels about the dividends itself, and only time will tell. And in that result, if you're going to put any money here, expect to lose it all, because that's the only way you can live with going through this. And if you want to put money into this, sure, you can count a special dividend, but also count that you're going to bag hold metamaterials by the end of the year if you don't sell early. And there's a lot of questions regarding this one. And so let me know what do you think about this one in the description below. Do you like metamaterials, or are you in this one just for the TRCH dividend? Mention it down in the comments below, share, subscribe, and like, and have a wonderful day. Now, if you made it this far into the video, I do recommend that you go ahead and join our Discord server. There's a lot of amazing folks in here. We do a lot of discussions here into the trading floor throughout the day. A lot of people are in there, and we do ask questions. You can ask me any question you would like on there. We do post research and DDs, and we hold weekly chat sessions. And we also do have a lounge in there. So make sure to actually join that and join the fun there. Have a wonderful day and a good one.